Hello and welcome to Dropkick the Commute for July 22nd, 2024. Of course, I am joined by the one and only MrGaleer, and we have a special guest today, Noviak, fellow wrestling creator. What's up, man?
What's up, man? How's it going? Not doing too bad.
Yeah, big vibes today, big vibes. So, of course, just like last time we had a guest on, I want to start off with you. Tell us about you. What got you into wrestling? Talk about your content a little bit for people that don't know.
Trauma dump on me.
Yeah, trauma dump all your content onto us. No, but yeah, what got you into wrestling in the first place? And just tell us a little bit about yourself, your content, all that stuff.
I got you. Well, you know, I was a kid one time, like all of us were.
Like most, yeah.
You know, yeah. I would watch Raw every morning, so I'd catch up. It was like 2013, maybe 14. John Cena was there, all the usuals and stuff, and I was really into it. Had the figures, all that stuff, mini rings, and you know, you age out of it a little bit. You kind of let it go over some other things, and then I don't know when it happened, but eventually, I think it was when Dynamite started. I was like, you know what? We're gonna start watching this whole wrestling thing again. So I started watching Dynamite, and over the years since then, the last like probably year, I've started to explore outside of that. So you know, some New Japan, some Stardom, some TJPW, all that sort of stuff. I cast a wide net. So that's where we're at.
Oh, no shot. Wait, that's sick.
Crazy. I have the same one.
I just made a lot of noise pulling this out, and I haven't set this up. I've had it for 2 years.
You gotta put it somewhere.
Shout out High Quality Victor. He gave it to me.
Oh, is it big? It's a big ring.
Really big. It's surprisingly big.
Oh,
it doesn't fit. Like I don't have a spot for it to go.
Yeah, me neither. I just kind of like, it's at the top of my closet, just kind of like sitting there until I have some kind of shelf to put it on. So I don't know. We'll see whenever that may appear.
You should put it there.
Tree.
Yeah, put it on the cat tree, and then Nestor can sit in the ring.
No,
it'll be perfect.
I think he'd find some way to dismantle it.
So I used to have, I was in the same boat. I had a shit ton of wrestling action figures and shit like that. And I only had the ring. I didn't really have anything else. Eventually I got a few like chairs and a table, and I was like, oh shit, I'm living large here. I never got like an entrance or anything, but what I did was I created an entrance ramp and little stage out of cardboard. And then I drew on it, so I would have them come out of that. Dude, it was fire.
I used a fruit snack like box, like that had fruit snacks in it. I gutted it out and like turned it inside out and made it into a ring. And then like my dad like helped me make like we used like elastic bands and like made a whole thing out of it. And then I was like, yeah, I kind of just want to buy the actual thing.
Yeah, I had one of the, like, you know, the Rock'em Sock'em robots.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They had one of those rings, and I didn't ever buy like a real official ring. I just used that one. And, you know, I had the little mini, tiny figures with like Velcro championship belts and all this stuff. I'd play the music on the phone, all that good stuff. We'd have pay-per-views. It was godly. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I felt God in this house.
Oh, that booking that you did. Oh my God.
Oh, the amount of kickouts. It was getting dirty.
Yeah, it was getting. No TV would have picked up this deal, dude.
Yeah.
No TV station.
So this is going to be interesting because our last guest was very WWE heavy. You, on the other hand, are AEW and New Japan, Japanese wrestling, and all that stuff. So did you like fall out of WWE completely, or are you still like, you know, I guess you saw AEW and Japanese wrestling and just like, that's my shit, like I'm doing that, or are you just like don't care about WWE anymore, or like what's the thought there?
Yeah, I tried to. When I first got back into wrestling, I would watch Simon Miller's Ups and Downs for SmackDown and Raw, and I'd keep up with it that way. I'd never watched the show. I just didn't really have the time.
Okay.
But then nowadays, how it's kind of transformed is I'll watch the pay-per-views and like I'll catch the occasional, like if someone says this match rocked, I might give it a watch, but I'm not really like a weekly TV, you know, WWE kind of guy. I usually stick to AEW and Japanese stuff.
Okay, did you watch when Money in the Bank was on, did you watch Collision live or did you watch Money in the Bank? Or did you watch neither?
I split screened it. So we did both.
Okay.
This guy's smart. Okay.
Smart.
That's a smart move because because I knew I had a few friends that were like, I was watching Money in the Bank and they were giving me updates on Collision, and I'm like, I feel like even if I didn't like necessarily 100% like WWE, I feel like I'd keep Money in the Bank on just to see what happens.
Yeah.
I guess it's all about preference, obviously, but I was just like, okay. But that's smart. I like that.
That's what I usually like to do. Yeah, I like to like just keep my eye on things. Like even though I don't watch the weekly TV, like I know kind of what's going on. Like I know the storylines to a decent extent. Like I know how we got to a lot of the SummerSlam matches, but I haven't like seen it live. You know what I mean?
What got you into like making wrestling content? You're just watching stuff and you're like, you know, if I'm passionate about this, I'm gonna start doing it.
Well, when I was a kid and anyone would ask, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? I would always say like, I want to be a YouTuber. I want to make YouTube videos. Back then it was more for like COD. Like I wanted to trick shot. Like
all of
FaZe
us.
Clan. Yeah, like all of us. We all, 12, 14-year-old boys, we gotta hit the trick shots. But eventually, like I just kind of like decided I was never really gonna do it because there was never anything that I was like, I'm passionate about a lot of things, but there's never something that really got me.
Yeah.
And then when I got like super into wrestling, like over the past like probably 2 years or so, a little over like 2.5, I'd say. I just decided like, hey, I think I'm really passionate about this. I think I can fill a niche that nobody's doing. So I just decided, why not make some videos on it? Why not share the passion with everyone else?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Dude,
that's
and
really cool.
I just want to point out that you started your channel only a year ago, and you
a year ago,
are
like
now,
a week ago.
Yeah, which congratulations, by the way. And you just recently hit 1K subs
Hell yeah.
on YouTube, which is fucking awesome. And we've also kind of been like floored by the amount of people, because it's such a like a niche thing, but there's so many people, like everyone and their mother has a wrestling podcast.
It's crazy. It's niche, but it's not niche at the same time. It's
And
like
we've started this shit like 2 months ago, and we're already at over 500 on YouTube, which is it's just
Congrats
wild.
To you guys.
Yeah,
thank you. But it's like I've been watching your shit from the beginning, and I was like, damn, like this shit is popping off, This shit is busting respectfully.
I think what's crazy to me since we started doing this is like we both streamed separately for a while, and he did a wrestling promotion in 2K called GCW. I did like gaming content, just variety, random shit on Twitch, and I had my ups and downs and all that stuff. But I think the craziest thing since we started doing wrestling content is like the amount of engagement, because everybody has their own opinion, right? And they are not afraid to share it. Whether it's good, bad, it's like, it's insane. I don't think I've ever had like this amount of engagement from anything I've done. And are you experiencing something similar with like your channel of like the IWC, if you will, like everybody, I don't know, because wrestling fans are passionate. So
yeah, I think that's really what it is. I heard someone say the other day, it was like, it's the most popular niche that there is. Like it's popular, but it's also like very specific where not everybody would know about it. There's a few people on my channel that like have kind of stuck around from the beginning and stuff. And that just kind of like, it's one of those things where like when people find someone that kind of just agrees with them in a way, or like at least somewhat is on the same path as them, they just want to share the passion with them. They want to be a part of it. Everybody wants to find a group and find someone, to be with, enjoy this wrestling thing.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a very emotionally fueled niche. Because some people like will say something and they'll take it hella personally. And like the only other really like violently emotional fan base that is similar to wrestling, I'd say, is like music. Like I think of like Anthony Fantano, when people like get so mad that he like rated an album something, and when he's just a dude, who listens to a lot of music. We're just people that watch a lot of wrestling. And it's like especially with like the state of like tribalism like in wrestling today in the internet, and it's like it is very much just a community that is like feeds on engagement. Like all my entire wrestling, or my entire Twitter feed is wrestling. you know? And
Yeah.
it wasn't always that way, even though I've watched wrestling for like, 7 or 8 years now. So, it's one of those things where you expect it to be really saturated, and it like is to a degree, but somehow it's like flourishing for
I think
everybody.
a lot of like with wrestling, it does really bring out the emotion in you. Like no matter what you're watching, like Cody winning the title, Hangman winning the title, or them failing to win the title, even like those are strong emotions. And I feel like those strong emotions that wrestling kind of brings out of you leads to a lot of passionate people that are like that feel very strongly about whatever they're watching. And some people take it too far, and some people are normal about it, but it just breeds that passion.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those things that I feel like can't be explained, even though it's like it is right in front of us, but like there's something about it that like what the anytime someone sees like an AEW video of ours, they're like, "Oh, AEW's done in 2 years." It's like, do you know how long people have been saying that about any wrestling?
5 years in now,
5 years.
Yeah. Well, it's like, okay. And I think this last one, I was like, all right, we'll revisit this in 2 years. We'll find out.
Yeah.
But no, we have a bunch of people that are like, yeah, they're dead. They're so dead. And it's like, well, not really.
It's very weird. It's
still there.
Yeah. It's hard. Whenever I see that, I just kind of I think, why can't you be normal? Can't you be a little like, we're all
I
just
feel
watch
like
wrestling.
Yeah, why can't just enjoy it? And like I was the tribalist at one, like I was a tribalist at one point against WWE. I was very just like, because AEW was like at its peak, and it was like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. And WWE, respectfully, fucking sucked. It was bad, like really bad.
Yeah.
Like 2019 to 2022, 2023, like mid 2023, bad. And AEW was in its like heyday, so like. And then I don't know, something snapped to me, and I was like, this is kind of disgusting. Like, why do we care so much?
I'm being a
like,
freak.
why can't we just root for everybody?
Yeah.
And like, we could still like critique them and be like, if you keep doing this, it's not going to do anything for you, because we want you to succeed.
It would be like if like a football fan, right? That like football exists in its entirety, and you have all these different teams. It'd be like, Patriots are gone in 2 years. They're just done. They're gonna not exist anymore. It'd be like,
that's not how that works.
Yeah. But it's so we talk about tribalism quite a bit, just because it's like, just watch your fucking wrestling, man. Just watch it.
It comes up once an episode, because we'll always just get a whack ass comment that is just like blown out of proportion.
I recently got a comment that was like, I basically said that like ROH was better off now that Tony Khan bought it. That was like the better thing for them as a company. Someone was like, ROH would have been better off being a tab on Peacock. This stinks. It's like, it's not, that's not really like the as intense it can get, but it's just like, they don't mean it because they actually mean it. They mean it just to say like, just to dunk on you. And it's kind of
it's just everyone's so like in their feelings.
Yeah,
it's true.
Like let's just like, we can still be in our feelings. I'm still here to feel, we just gotta feel. We just gotta feel differently.
We gotta feel different. So, I want to get into, before we get into like the weekly shows and stuff, I want to get into Japanese wrestling and what you're into, because I am, and
like,
me and Galeer are very, very uneducated about like New Japan and like basically that whole other world of wrestling, right? So the most we see is like Forbidden Door and so, some of that stuff, which I know is just like very cherry picked, but I know like the G1 is happening right now. I don't even know what the G1 is. So please explain and educate us a little bit, because I'm very curious.
I got you. I was recently on another podcast, and I was their young lion pretty much. I was here to inform the old heads about what's going on.
The young
and
boy.
how the young generation feels. So I'll keep you up to date here.
So this is the same situation where the old people here, and we're like, what's that?
Yeah, we got two grandpas over here, and I gotta tell them what's what about the new generation. So the current G1 is G1 Climax 34. I think the field is 20 deep. So everybody, it's split into 2 blocks, so 10 and 10. Everybody will wrestle everybody in their block. So
Kind
add
of like
up
the Continental Classic.
Yes, it's pretty much kind of exactly like that. But their stakes are a bit different, and so they go off a point system, how same way with Continental Classic, but their stakes at the end, whoever wins gets a shot at the IWGP World Title at the Tokyo Dome at Wrestle Kingdom, which is their biggest show, like
Ooh.
by far.
Right.
So it's like if you win this, you're set up for the next half a year to build to that Wrestle Kingdom, and it's kind of, and sometimes be a little clear about who's going to win and stuff, and that's something. But a lot of the time, you'll spend the rest of the year, you'll defend the briefcase. Naito carried around a tote bag last year, but you'll defend it at least once throughout that time. It's become kind of a trend the last few years, and but yeah, it's the biggest tournament really, like mostly because the Continental Classic is big. But it's not like the G1 because it doesn't have the history, it doesn't have all this, and the G1 is known for great matches. And I mean, this year we've gotten at least one great match. I'm not all the way through night 2 yet, but we've gotten at least one great match that was like, this is G1. This is what it's all about. Like everybody wrestling at their highest levels and bringing their best out of everybody, so.
And that's
very prestigious.
I feel like from my outside perception of like New Japan and like Japanese wrestling as a whole, I feel like that's kind of like their thing. Like it's just like they're here to wrestle at their like highest level. And I was saying earlier, I was trying to find the one New Japan show I watched maybe like 6 or 7 months ago, because I remember watching one, or I like had it off to the side, but honestly I couldn't remember which one. TJP was in it, that's all I remember. And that does not narrow. Yeah, no. That does not narrow it down.
It might have been one of the U.S. shows. It might have been one of their.
And I just remember watching one of the matches. It wasn't the TJP match. It was 2 guys I never heard of, and it was just like, just pure, just 2 dudes wrestling. Technical, strong style, like incorporating all these styles, and just like the audience too is like so engaged. Like they're very quiet, but it's not like awkward. Like when an audience is quiet in an American crowd, it's like something's wrong because they're not engaged. But like in Japan, I feel like the crowd does
engaged.
The crowd does get like loud at times, but like it's a different kind of energy when they're quiet. It's not like bad.
It's very respectful.
It's very respectful. Thank you.
Bill Murray recently did a show in Japan, and he was on an interview. The band, not the comedian.
Yeah, you got to narrow it down. Bill Murray, the band.
Bill Murray, the band. They were in Japan doing a show. They were at a festival there, and he said it was such a culture shock because they were on stage playing their songs, and the crowd's just like, because they're just so engaged. And he's like totally different from America, like completely different, engaged in what they're watching. So I feel like, New Japan wrestling is like a very similar vibe to that, because that's the culture over there.
Andre the Giant won this shit one year. Also, sorry, I'm just looking at the list of winners, and Inoki's on there like 16 times.
He won a few times.
Hulk
Tanahashi's
Hogan
on there a few times. Yeah, Hulk Hogan won it. There was a lot of like, it was back in the era where it was more common for like WWF folks to go over to Japan for a bit and all that stuff, because it was like it was just a big deal to get over in Japan. It was seen as like the pinnacle of wrestling a lot more there. Yeah. So it's, it was very it was big time, like Vader in Japan, like all that other stuff. It's very iconic.
The one New Japan show that I watched a couple months ago was the one where Will Ospreay came out in his Assassin's Creed outfit. I forget which show that was.
That could have even been Wrestle Kingdom.
It might have been. I think it was.
I think it was Wrestle Kingdom.
I think Mox was also in a triple threat, and he came out as Red Hood. Yeah, okay.
It was a triple threat. It was Mox versus Ospreay versus Finlay. For
Okay.
the it was for their second belt, like the one underneath the IWGP
Okay.
heavyweight belt.
So
Yeah.
I literally watched because Will Ospreay came out in an Assassin's Creed outfit. That's my favorite game. So I was like, okay, I'll watch this.
He's got a tattoo on his arm.
He
Even.
does. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Doesn't he
yeah,
also have
from what I watched from that show, I didn't watch the whole thing, but it was crazy, man. Like it was the first time I ever watched New Japan, and I was like, holy fuck, like this is
That show's
crazy.
great. I had a lot of fun time with that show. I'm gonna look back here at the spreadsheet.
A spreadsheet.
Yeah, there was a few great matches on that card. I put that one on the spreadsheet.
Oh
but,
yeah, you do that. You do. You have a separate account for your match ratings.
I do. I don't know if I'm gonna do that anymore.
Why?
Because it's kind of a lot of work. I have to go through and get all the graphics and stuff, and I might just like turn it into like I don't know, some website like a WordPress or something like that. But we'll see if I keep up with it. It's hard for me to keep up because I have to like delay watching matches and all this stuff.
I feel that. I was doing that during COVID. I was just making. It was more so just for me. I was making like list of like my favorite matches and like giving them ratings, and I was like, I fell off eventually because the world opened back up, and I started going outside again.
Last year, I was very I fell off towards the end of the year, and it was very noticeable. So I was just like, all right, we're gonna discard all of last year's ratings. I'm just gonna say I was dumb and young. We're gonna say I was dumb and young with that one, and we restarted this year. And this year, I made a like concerted effort to go all over the world. I do indies and stuff, like the best matches. I want to watch them. I want to see them, and so some of the best ones are on here from anything really. I have during Mania weekend I was watching all the indies and stuff to see if there was anything good on there. Like I don't know, it's fun. Just it feels like an exploration of all the different things wrestling can offer. So I have fun with it.
I love that.
Nice. Let's hop into the weekly stuff here. So we'll cover SmackDown real quick. Nothing crazy on SmackDown, but we had a fucking packed week of wrestling. Tomorrow me and Galeer are going to talk about TNA and Slammiversary, which was a very good show. But today we're going to talk SmackDown, Collision, and Rampage. So, starting with SmackDown, like I said, nothing crazy happened, but we started off the show with Cody promoing about Randy, and he's like, oh, Randy's there to protect me and all that stuff, and Solo fucked him up, and I'm so sad about it, and I know Kevin Owens is going to help me too. And then A-Town Down Under come out, and they're like, hey, the Bloodline fucked with us because you were mean to them. And it was like, it was a little goofy.
I think the Bloodline fucked with you guys because you can.
Yeah.
They can.
So wanted to, I thought, but all right.
Yeah, and Austin Theory was like, or it might have been Grayson Waller, I don't know, I wasn't really paying attention. One of them, they're like, yeah, if you weren't mean to them, they wouldn't have messed us up after our match last week. And Cody's like, okay. So that was a little goofy. Bailey and Nia Jax are starting to heat up a little bit more. We had a nice little split screen promo between them. Bailey called Nia big, clumsy, and reckless, and she was like,
I mean, is she wrong though?
She's not wrong.
I feel like we haven't had a segment like this. This is very reminiscent of when Riddle and Seth did that little that face-to-face, which was good. And I wonder if they were like trying to recreate that here.
It didn't like it. It was not a good recreation, but
yeah, it was like a little
it.
engaging, and then it just got to the point where Bailey just kept talking, and Nia Jax was like, "I'm sick of hearing this. I'm gonna leave."
Yeah,
and then it just ended there. I think Nia Jax is gonna win. I was like sure about it. Now I'm like, well, where is this going? Bailey's title reign hasn't been like
great.
It's been What do you think, Novi? What's your perspective on Bailey's world title reign so far?
I haven't seen a crazy amount of matches, but I did see WrestleMania. I saw her match there, and I think she's a fine champion. She's okay. I don't know. Like if I saw Nia Jax win, I'm not going to be like upset about it.
Yeah.
But I'll question why what they thought about with this reign. I think people will look back and be like, I'm not sure what we accomplished here. What was our goal? What did we get through?
they gave her the moment, and that's kind of really what it felt like. She's only had 2 other title defenses. One of them that I feel like held weight, which was she did a triple threat match with Naomi and Tiffany Stratton.
Which was weird.
That was at Backlash in France. It was very weird. I don't know how Tiffany. I guess that was their way of kind of like putting her on the map a little more in the main roster, and then like Naomi and Bayley are just kind of like friends in this match, and
it was like a friendly battle, and Tiffany is there.
It was a good match, and I think like for putting Tiffany on the map, because now like you look where she is, and
guess it worked.
And then she had the match with Piper, which I was sad that Piper kind of just like people did not care, which it sucks because I love Piper. I love Piper Niven as a wrestler, seeing her stuff from when she was in the UK. But you make a good point. It's like what they think about this title reign is kind of just like bleh. And like I am down to have Nia Jax win the championship because she hasn't really had a memorable reign of her own. I don't think
it's been all right this year too.
Yeah, she's been very like prominent and like obviously like winning Queen of the Ring, like and then you also have like another layer to set up some kind of thing with Tiffany Stratton because they're friends, and she's got the briefcase, and that actually carried over in SmackDown because Tiffany had a match with Michin, which, by the way, shout out to Michin. She's kind of just been like working everywhere.
She's
like,
been all over the place.
Like she's like on fucking Raw, NXT, SmackDown, and like she's been losing most of the time. But she actually won this match, albeit by interference.
Yeah.
But was
this Michin and Nia?
No, it was Michin and Tiffany.
Michin and Tiffany.
Because
Bayley
and then showed up and like destroyed the briefcase and fucking whacked it. At first, I thought the briefcase had nothing in it, and I was like, "That's kind of funny," because I don't think we've ever seen the inside of it, but it had a little contract and a pen. So they're selling it like they've been. I was worried it was just going to be an empty briefcase.
Yeah, which would have been goofy. But yeah, Bayley like took it and folded it, and then she jumped on it, and I was like, "Oh no!" And Tiffany picked it up and held it. And she was like, "What am I gonna do?" So I think during the Money in the Bank press conference, Tiffany was like, "I'm gonna bedazzle this thing. It's gonna be all pretty." So I think this is what is gonna happen now. I think they're trying to make it like a story point.
I expected a bedazzled briefcase.
I did too.
Right away.
Yeah.
Right away. Wow.
But no, it's like destroyed.
She's come out the last 2 weeks. I've just been like, she's hyping it up. Where is it? You know?
Glamour takes time, man.
I guess so.
So I think I don't know if Tiffany will win the women's championship from Money in the Bank. I think it'll be the first failed women's Money in the Bank cash-in, because I think her winning that was just enough to kind of like let people know who she is, or maybe she will. I mean, we gave Ethan Page the NXT championship fucking 6 weeks into his debut. Don't get me started on that, but I think it's time for Nia Jax to win, because this Bayley reign is not doing it for me. And I love Bayley. That's the sad part.
I think they're gonna do what they kind of did with Theory when he had it, where they're just gonna like keep teasing it, and she's gonna come out like numerous times and try to like do it, and then something's gonna get fucked up, and then eventually, I think she's gonna have the actual like Money in the Bank for a while.
Do you think she's gonna win it though? Do you think she's gonna successfully cash in?
I don't know. I would say not anytime soon, at least. Like, not at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
She's gonna, like, but overall, I don't know. We could see the first failed. Who knows? I
think she holds it for a while, honestly. Like, it gets to be a Damian Priest kind of thing where it just becomes a part of her.
Yeah.
And it's like, I still have this. I'm accomplished. I can make this happen anytime. Yeah, and I think she'll probably win it. I think she's too too over, and I think she's impressed me when I've seen her wrestle. So
oh yeah,
she's great.
Super impressive as a wrestler.
Yeah, and she, I think when it look like 6 months from now, Tiffy time probably going to be even more over. It seems like it's a thing crowds will want to chant. So
yeah, definitely. It's Tiffy time.
SummerSlam is coming up very close, and we got more build between LA Knight and Logan Paul. Logan Paul called LA Knight a gym bro with a spray tan and a catchphrase, pretending to be The Rock.
He also said something about Larry the Lobster.
Yeah, Larry the Lobster.
I got to admit, man, he's doing a surprisingly well job at promoing. Like,
yeah,
like he actually knows how to like.
I just hate the inflection on his voice when he talks.
Yeah, why does he? That's because that's not like respectfully. Like, I don't want anyone to think I'm a Logan Paul watcher, but I've like listened to the podcast where he has wrestlers on because I'm curious enough, and it's I want to know what they talk about.
Yeah.
I don't watch Logan Paul. Do not fool me into that category, people. If you do watch Logan Paul, good for you. I'd say.
I think you're a Maverick, pal.
Oh,
you one of the Mavericks?
You're the Maverick? You're gonna sing "Everybody's a Hero"?
Hey, it seems I need a new host. Are you you want to join? No.
So yeah, he's like, I don't know why he talks like that because I've heard him talk, and that's not how he talks. But regardless, it's like when they had Jake Paul on the WrestleMania, I think it was 37 panel, like in the pre-show, they had him on, and I gotta find the video of it. But he's like, like, unfortunately, I also know what Jake Paul talks like, and he was like playing like a character, and he was like trying a little too hard to like be on wrestling TV.
But you know what? It's getting us to hate his voice, and that's what he wants. He wants us to hate him. So.
Yeah, he's a good heel. But he was like out there like he was dropping LA Knight's shoot name, like he was just fucking. They were going back and forth. They were throwing some verbal jabs. LA Knight was basically like, this has been going on for a year. I pinned your dumb ass. It's time for me to win this championship.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're headed.
Yeah, you think he's losing it?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
it's a long reign. Third longest.
Yeah.
Ever.
Third longest US title reign?
Ever.
That's crazy.
Way. It's sad too because he won it off of Rey Mysterio, right? And that was a title reign I was really excited about, which I feel like didn't last that long. So it's only a shame because he's like effectively he's a part-timer. He's a great wrestler. And he caught on pretty quick, I would say.
He can be for sure.
Yeah, and I think if he was like featured more, but obviously he's doing a bunch of other things, and he's having a kid soon, which I think is reason enough. Yeah, he's like got a baby on the way.
How do you know so much about him? It seems like you might be a Maverick.
I'm a Maverick. No, I'm on wrestling Twitter, man. I don't know what to tell you.
It's true.
Logan Paul Twitter. I'm hearing rumors. The streets are saying.
MrGaleer Maverick. But yeah, that's crazy. Third longest. I did not know that.
Do you know who's above him? Offhand? No. Or we have?
I don't have.
I'm on my way.
All right, look it up.
Longest.
Analytics, man. We need it.
Title.
Watch me be wrong. He's like the 5th.
Let's guess him. Cena for sure.
Yeah. We'll guess him. Longest WWE champion.
Cena, and then
it's got to be someone like old school.
MVP. I'm throwing it out there.
That's actually good. Why is it so hard to find this information? Lex Luger holds the record. 523 days. That's what I'm seeing. Rick Rude, 378 days. Dean Ambrose, 351. Title reign.
It's been 261 days. I just saw that.
That's insane.
But I don't know. You're spouting 300. I don't know.
Yeah, 260. So he's probably like 6th or 7th.
It's still up there.
Oh, maybe it's. I don't know. There's a lot of people tweeting about this. Maybe they're all wrong.
That's an insane amount of time, and like unfortunately, I feel like there needs to be an asterisk next to it because he's like not there half the time.
Yeah.
He does come for the big shows, but yeah, you found something? Let's hear it.
I found something. It's the longest reigning U.S. champions in history from 03 to 24. That's what it is. It's Dean Ambrose at 351, MVP at 343. So kind of a crazy shout there. And Logan Paul at 261.
Damn.
So, yeah.
Okay, so in the last 20 years, basically.
Yeah.
I feel like there needs to be an asterisk there.
Still a long damn time.
It's a long damn time. And I'd say it's about damn time to...
It's about damn time. In a minute.
I feel like they should have given that to LA Knight like a little sooner because he's kind of been popping off a lot.
I thought it was going to be a Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I thought he was going to win last year's.
SummerSlam will be a huge moment, though, which,
Yeah. Imagine if they don't do it.
Oh, my God. If they don't do it, I'm going to cry.
Yeah.
I'll be passionate on Twitter, I'll tell you what.
Oh, God.
You're going to Fed bad?
Yeah.
I'll be mad because Logan Paul lost because I'm a Maverick.
We knew it. Oh, man. And then, Cody got powerbombed through a table and Kevin Owens' neck broke.
I like how you just fast forwarded.
I mean, that's pretty much it. My prediction was wrong, though. I thought Kevin Owens was going to be next, but it was Cody Rhodes that got fucking...
Didn't Kevin Owens already get wrecked? That's why he's been gone? Oh, no, he was gone because something with his mom.
He was gone because of his family, yeah. But
So
I thought they were going to, knock out fucking Kevin Owens, and then Cody was going to be next. But no, it was the other way around. My prediction got foiled.
Yeah.
Such a tragedy.
Regardless, I feel like it's just like the third straight week in a row where it just ends with the Bloodline putting someone through a table.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like copy paste. People are like, Solo's gonna win the world title. No,
that's crazy. Crazy
You're
statement.
Cooked. You are
even
cooked.
Suggesting that is wild to me.
I've heard some people be like, it would be great to set up a Roman Reigns feud, and it's like, no,
you very much don't need it.
And like Cody's world title reign hasn't been like super. I won't say it hasn't been impressive. Like he's had a couple good matches, but like it's been it's been a little better than Bayley's in my opinion. I'm very happy he has the title. I want us to be over his involvement with the Bloodline personally. But also I think once Roman comes back, that'll kind of be their thing, and then Cody can do his thing. Solo winning the world title is in astronomically abysmal take in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
But fantasy book the night away. I'm not going to stop you. He's not cutting it for me as the tribal chief, interim tribal chief.
I think that's like the point of it too. It's like he pretends to be this guy. He pretends to be the man, but kind of everyone knows that he's just not that guy.
Before he was not talking. He was just like Umaga type beat, yelling and screaming, and then all of a sudden he's like serious and like. I've seen some people lately referring to his NXT run, and honestly, that was like so much better. Some people argue that he got called up too soon, but obviously they want to involve him because it's their whole family. So, I don't know. I found out the other day, random little fact that Solo's middle name is Yokozuna, like in real life.
It's kind of sick. I'm not gonna lie.
It is pretty sick, but I was like,
win the world title.
He has to he changes his fucking name to Yokozuna 2.
Yokozuna 2.
Solozuna. I'm gonna stop.
Yoko Sakoa.
Yeah.
Okay. You're done fantasy booking the second coming of Yokozuna?
Yeah. I'm thinking it's time to stop that, but it's definitely time to not give. It's not time to give any sort of belt to Solo Sikoa.
No.
Yeah, but Roman's I won't say definitely because there have been bigger swerves, but he's likely coming back at SummerSlam. So that's going to be very fun, guys. I'm having a SummerSlam watch party at my house. Y'all are invited.
Yeah, I'll fly up.
Yeah, Nobi, you're welcome, dude.
What state?
I'm in Rhode Island.
It's not insane. I don't know how much flights from North Carolina to Rhode Island are, but if
Oh,
the
we're close.
SummerSlam
This
watch
I'm in
guy's
party,
this guy's in
Carolina.
South Carolina.
Look at
Oh,
that.
for real?
Yeah, we're close.
Oh, you guys could have a
are you
meetup.
close to the state line?
Yes, kinda.
Me too.
Leak your
Me too.
address.
All right, I'm gonna leak it right now. It's no.
It's in my bio. I'm from Charlotte. It's in my
Oh, hell
bio.
yeah.
Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
I'm not from here, but I moved down here at the beginning of the year.
Oh yeah,
Myrtle Beach, yeah.
nice.
So
One other thing I wanted to point out about SmackDown was Bianca Belair and Chelsea Green had a match, and it seemed like it stemmed from both of them wanted to talk to Nick Aldis. It was just like they were waiting outside of his door, and they're like, I'm here first. They were doing this shit last week, too.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, let's go have a match. I feel like Bianca and Jade, but Bianca especially, since she's been at such a high point in WWE, is kind of just like taking a back seat. And I really like, especially since they lost the tag team championships. Obviously, it looks like they're getting a rematch, but I feel like since they lost the titles, it kind of just like we forgot about it for like a month. Because when was it? It was at Clash at the Castle they lost it, so it was like a month ago. And inexplicably, I feel like Isla Dawn and Alba Fire kind of came out of nowhere. I'm very happy they got their moment in Scotland and won those championships, but I was also very disappointed that Bianca or Jade haven't really been featured a whole lot since. And I think that match too with Chelsea Green was like 3-4 minutes long.
Yeah, it wasn't long at all.
It was under 1 minute.
Was it that short?
Seconds. Yes,
Oh,
really.
Shit.
I'm looking right at the old cage match.
I love it. Yeah. So that I was very like, huh, and like I feel like too that's like for Chelsea Green I know she's kind of like a comedy, doing a comedy thing right now, but man, I don't know, like I feel like we could do better.
I think it's a good point on the Triple H era of WWE. I think he's got to start doing more with Bianca Belair. It's not like she's been like, super under pushed or anything like that. She's gotten tag titles. She's been put in big spots, but she should be the face of the WWE. Like she has that kind of potential, at least up there with Rhea Ripley. She should be on their same level in a way. Like that should be like the biggest Mania match in forever. I think they're both good enough for that. And I think we have to start thinking, next WrestleMania, I'm going to be looking at him like, all right, where's Bianca on that card? Because she deserves to be up near the top. She's good enough for it. She's proved it.
Yeah.
So
it's funny you mentioned too, like her and Rhea Ripley, because I think they like fought a few times in NXT. That was when I started watching NXT, was when they were kind of featured a lot more, and they were in the middle of getting called up. They can definitely like carry a main event of like night 1 or night 2 like easily.
They should.
Yeah, exactly. I think they should. And I also just hate because it seems like every SummerSlam Bianca Belair has had her moment ruined, and I don't think it's by design by any means, but it's like last year she got cashed in on after either winning or retaining the championship.
Yep.
The year before, I believe, was when Damage Control like debuted and Bayley returned, ruined her moment. The year before that, Becky Lynch returned and beat her for the championship. And I don't think it's by design, but it's just like this has happened every year, and now to see where she's at, it's just kind of like we know where she can be at, and I know they're doing this whole tag team championship, chase with Jade, and they're a great team, but I think we can see Bianca win the world title again at some point, and maybe even feud with Jade for it.
Be cool. I wouldn't mind that sort of thing. It seems like, I guess, judging by her SummerSlam, all her L's, she's just likes WrestleMania more. Never lost in WrestleMania, constantly taking L's on SummerSlam. It's just not her time of the year.
Yeah.
But yeah, she should be like maybe not next year, because it depends on whether or not Rhea's going to win the belt back. But I think if Rhea does win that belt back, I think next year's WrestleMania, that's got to be the match. It's just the time is right. Rhea is the most over she's ever been. Bianca could easily get elevated a little bit more. I think I would be super
have a
up
great
for it.
match. They've got, like I said, gone head to head in NXT. They finished the Women's Rumble in 2021, I remember, and that was like an insane moment because they had both gotten called up, and it was like,
yeah,
it elevated both of them.
Yeah.
And then by WrestleMania, they both won their women's championships for their brands. So like, it's very clear that they are, or they were picked to be the faces of, the company, and I'd like to see that still like hold true now.
So I think that's it for WWE. Let's hop over to the AEW side of things. Are you ready? Oh, go ahead.
Hang on.
We're missing one match that I think has to be discussed because it's the one everyone's talking about.
I forgot.
Yeah,
Andrade and Carmelo.
Well, you know why?
God.
It's because we're so not used to it on the show, and I think that's genuinely it. This match was fantastic. And
it's a good little match.
We specifically mentioned it, and I was like, "Oh, no, this was really, really good to see from both of them." Carmelo got brought up, and he had his little match with Cody, and then he had a really good match with Randy. And I feel like since that match, we haven't really seen much from Carmelo. He was in Money in the Bank, and it was like, whatever. But yeah, this with Andrade was so good, and it's good to see Andrade like have a good moment on SmackDown.
Dude, the Money in the Bank match wasn't enough. Him winning the Speed Championship surely was not enough.
Yeah,
it was just like not like seeing how he went out of WWE and seeing how he came back in, and it was like, yes, like, his exit from AEW was pretty disappointing, seeing as like he did okay there for a little bit. I fear that like people just don't know how to book him, which I feel like it isn't that hard. He's very like, people on Twitter were like, OMG, like Andrade was doing this. It's like those are like normal moves that he does when he wrestles. It just goes to show you that people like haven't seen him at his full potential. And this match with Carmelo was definitely a must need and a must win for him too. I wasn't sure who was going to win this match because you could put both of them, either one of them over, and it's like it's good for. They both looked great, but I think Andrade was definitely the one that needed to win this match because I think a lot of people were starting to kind of get worried, and hopefully they, carry that somewhere.
Yeah, he definitely needed to win this match, I thought. And I'm the AEW guy on this pod here, so I can kind of speak on that. I think the peak for Andrade and AEW, I think the moment where they kind of took the misstep was in the triple threat. It was Sammy, Darby, and I think Darby and Andrade. And Andrade lost that match. And I thought that it was for the TNT title. And I thought that was the moment where he definitely should have won something. And that felt like the moment where he kind of checked out a little bit.
Yeah.
He eventually came back, and I'm pretty sure he did the Continental Classic. Yeah, he did that last year, and he looked great. I like Andrade quite a bit. I think he's an awesome wrestler. He got bigger and still, he kept doing a lot of the high flying stuff, but added so many more power moves to his moveset. And I really enjoy that sort of thing. He's a big fucking dude. He got, he was eating his gummies. He was eating his daily vitamins.
Right.
And this match with Carmelo, I thought was really, really good. They were moving around in there. Andrade was hitting his big moves. Carmelo was selling huge for it, and he was providing a lot of movement in this match. Yeah. I had a fun time with this. I don't usually like search out too many SmackDown matches. It's more the the Bloodline show. But I was thankful I searched out this match because Andrade looked really good, and I'll never not pop for that spinning back fist or back elbow.
Oh, so good.
Oh, it's so beast.
Killer.
When he started doing that in AEW, oh boy, I was like, he should win every match with that.
I saw the first time he did that in WWE. It was like 2019, with the very first time he did it. I think it was like, this is so specific, but I think he was facing Cedric Alexander, I want to say, at very random match.
Yeah.
It was like at the tail end when he was US champion there. And he did that move, and I was like, holy fuck, that was vicious.
Yeah.
And then
it looks like it hurts.
Yeah.
It looks like it really packs it.
And Carmelo's the guy to sell it too. So, big shout out to both of them. Carmelo is definitely a future champion. Andrade definitely needs to be in that picture as well. It's a shame how he kind of went out in AEW.
Disappointing,
but
really.
Very disappointing. But people were talking about this match for sure, and
Mhm.
they could have gone an extra 15 minutes, and it still would have like kept
Would have
my
gone
attention.
hard, yeah.
If
Yeah,
it was on Raw and they got about 20 or something like that, this would have made that sheet.
yeah.
They were hooping. They were moving in there. Shout out to them.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah. Sorry we glossed over that one.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know why I glossed over it. I'm so sad. But now it's time for AEW, right? Is there anything else?
I think we're good.
Okay.
I
we're
think we
good.
got through it all.
So
Yeah.
I'm interested to see your take on Rampage because I'm not a big not a big Rampage guy. I
went on a heavy rant last week.
Yeah, it's got its audience. Rampage has its audience, and that's okay. I get it. It's not for me. I love Collision. I think it's probably one of my favorite shows of the week. I'm a big Collision guy. Yes, I love Collision.
Colliders.
But
I made a whole video about it.
yeah,
Love the show.
But Rampage, I try so hard. I put it on and I'm watch it and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I wrote down two things for Rampage. Two whole things. I was cackling at Jericho because he came out and he was texting while he was on the apron in the tag match. He's standing there and he's like texting and he just keeps looking up every once in a while. He's like, and he texts. and so goofy. And then Big Bill does his thing and he tags Jericho and Jericho just walks in and he goes like this and puts one foot and he pins and wins. And he wore the title around the whole time. Yeah. And all he didn't change any gear or anything. He just took his shirt off. So he was in his jeans and his belt, which was very goofy.
Excalibur said, pretty sure that's the only time that pin has ever worked. His fucking where he steps on their chest. Novi, what are your thoughts on the learning tree? Let's hear it.
I'm not a learning tree fan, I'm afraid.
That's okay.
I've liked the recent developments a little bit more.
Yes.
I kind of very, the smallest amount. I like how crazy Jericho's getting a little bit. I like how it's building, he's going a little delusionally, thinks he's whatever. I'm okay with that. Overall though, it's not the act I want to see on my show every week. I'm just not. There's so much more.
I do feel like we go through cycles with Chris Jericho, like where it's like, what gimmick is he doing now to like stay on television?
Yeah.
Which at the beginning of this, it was the very beginning of this podcast too, is when that learning tree stuff started. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm getting sick and tired of Chris Jericho. I want that to be made very clear. Mm-hmm. And I was not really super stoked initially on this gimmick.
One of our first videos, like one of our first shorts, is hating on the learning tree, and we're like, this fucking sucks, it's stupid. And we still get comments that are like, people are hating Jared, and we're like, hey, we kind of like the learning tree now, but
yeah, I will agree with you. I don't think it needs to take up as much time as it does.
Yeah.
But I think it's a very unique concept, especially given that a lot of people just want to see Chris Jericho retire at this point.
It's a weird thing too. I understand it being like a unique concept, but really when I sat down and thought about it, this is kind of exactly what he's been doing since he joined AEW. He gets the group, he says, I'm your mentor, I'm going to train you guys up.
And then they turn on him.
And they turn on him eventually. And look, I was okay with Chris Jericho for a long time. I've been okay with Chris Jericho, in the last year and a half. But it's come time. The guy he's been on the most episodes of Dynamite overall, other than anybody, except for like refs, and that's like announcers. Yeah. The guy just needs to take a break. I need a break from Jericho. I need him to go away for a decent amount of time. And I feel like that would kind of bring back a lot of the goodwill, because it was like 2 weeks ago, there was a Dynamite. It was one of my favorite Dynamites of the year. And his stuff hit on the hour mark. We started doing learning tree stuff on the hour mark, and I said, if this wasn't on the show, I'd feel so many I feel so much better about it. But it just kind of, it took me out of the moment. It took me out of what I was watching just because it was so like, so just not for me and so just played out at this point. I'm over it. I want him to take a break. He doesn't have to retire if he doesn't want to, but go to CMLL like you want to do. Go do that. They like you over there.
Doesn't need to like. He doesn't carry the shows by any means, and I think he thinks he does. And you know,
he really
like,
wants to.
Yeah, I think it's more so wanting to. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am really excited about Minoru Suzuki, smacking the shit out of him.
Yeah.
I love Suzuki. I was confused because they seemingly set up that match and it was going to be at Forbidden Door, and then it didn't happen.
I was also confused about that, but
it was weird, right? It was weird timing.
Yeah. It would have been better too on that show.
Same with the Acclaimed Elites match. Like, I don't know what's going on with that, because they won at this point a month ago. They won an eliminator match.
They could forget about it. It's okay. Just let them. Don't mention it.
Yeah. Well, they actually mentioned this on Collision. It was because FTR came out and they're like, hey, we want the tag titles. And then, great, cool. But the Acclaimed, they're the number one contenders. And even fucking Tony Schiavone was like, what's going to happen? They're the number one contenders. Is FTR going to come in now? And I'm like, well, why did you not give them their match already?
I'm very worried.
Yeah.
It seems like that's one of those matches are going to be on Wembley. And I'm very worried because those are like two matches I really don't want to see on Wembley. I'd much rather the Bucks face someone more interesting that they like haven't faced in the last 3 years, like 3 times over again. It's like
who do you have in mind?
I think what they're going to go for is FTR is going to take the number one contender spot, and then they're just going to do FTR Young Bucks at Wembley
again at Wembley.
Seems like
I don't care to like. I love the matches they've had, but I don't care to see that rematch at Wembley for like the 5th time now in their series.
Sorry, Galeer. What would you want to see?
Yeah, who do you think of like immediately when you think of Bucks versus blank at Wembley?
So a few months ago, I was really dead set. Charlie of WrestlePurious, if anyone knows who she is, she's a great writer. Awesome. She had suggested that they go with the Bucks versus Christian and Copeland. And I was really up for that match. I thought that was that's a Wembley match. That's perfect for what it was. And then, Copeland decided to take a flat-footed drop off a steel cage. And, that was a very bold choice of him. But, we all make mistakes in life, whatever. And then I got real excited because I was like, who's a free agent right now? We got some Detroit boys. I got some Motor City Machine Guns. And I was like, that's a cool match right there. I could get down with that.
Did they sign with WWE though?
Seems like they're still deciding. It seems like they don't really know, but they're leaning WWE. It seems that
would be
either way
incredible match.
Yeah, either way I'd be happy with it. But that's the match I would have really wanted to see. But as it goes on, I'm flinching a little bit. I think they're probably going to WWE. So if I had to say someone else, it gets a lot harder because there's not many teams that I really super invested in right now. But if they wanted to run back the Lucha Bros again, I wouldn't be mad at that. I wouldn't hate it. I think that would be decent enough. So
that was Mufussy's first AEW show. Was All In 2021 in the steel cage. Or All Out, yeah.
That was my very first time watching AEW. Was All Out. That cage match, I was like, this shit, fuck. That is what got me into AEW. Was
one of my favorite matches of all time.
Galeer was trying to get me to watch AEW for well over a year, and I was like, whatever. Don't have time, all that stuff. I was like, nah, I'm not gonna watch it.
We invited all of Twitter into your Discord server.
Oh my god. I posted.
He advertised it on Twitter.
I was like, hey, I'm doing a watch party.
And people that wanted to just people that didn't want to buy the pay-per-view were like,
I remember 60 people in a Discord call that they all hopped in. I muted everybody, but there was 60 people just watching All Out. I was like, oh my God.
I remember hearing
fun,
2 people joined in and they couldn't figure out, like, most of the people muted themselves, but they couldn't figure out, like, they didn't know what Discord was. And they were like, all you hear is like, yeah, it's like Slack for gamers.
Yeah, that show was funny.
One of the best pay-per-views that AEW has done, in my opinion, and it still holds up to this day.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, there's another match. There's another match I've gotten here for. There's 2 I've thought of here. I would be okay with Malachi and Brody. I would think that would Malachi's kind of stepped up his work lately. He's earned back a little bit from me, so I think that would be cool. I would be down for that. And then I'd also be down for, I just had it in my head and then I like kind of lost it completely. So let me try to refresh this. It was
Private Party.
Honestly, I would not mind Private Party because it got a lot of history, but I was thinking Switchblade, Jay White, and Juice Robinson. I think that would be a pretty cool match too.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool. I feel like their tag team division isn't too deep this year.
It's because they don't put any focus on it anymore, which is kind of a poor choice in my opinion. I really wish they would emphasize tag team wrestling again.
I really like, I like Top Flight, for example. I think they're a great team. That could definitely use more exposure. Maybe not at Wembley, but like just kind of giving the 30,000 foot view of everything. There's not a whole lot of depth like there used to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got one more too. I'm literally scrolling the roster and I'm seeing things pop into my head. Roddy Strong and Kyle O'Reilly going back as a team, being heels again. I'm not necessarily saying O'Reilly's better as a heel, but if they were to do it, or as babyfaces, if they both went babyface, because Bucks are heel, I think that would be a very good match. I think that would rule too. There's a few out there, but we're kind of sitting here saying, like, I'm sitting here saying these teams that, like, some of them aren't even on TV, some of them aren't even formed really, and it's like I just wish they started caring again and started giving tag team matches moments on Dynamite, started building up teams and all this stuff, because the Bucks have had these belts for how long and they haven't even defended them, and I got a problem with that. Like I don't like it at all. And it's not like they're building anyone up at the same time. They're just saying, okay, the Acclaimed are going to do it, but they got to have someone after that. But there's no one's got any emphasis. So who comes next?
Yeah, it's in a really weird spot right now.
Yeah, I'm all for FTR winning those championships again at some point. Not at Wembley. They did it last year.
Yeah.
I loved when they had like 3 different tag team championships at once.
Belt Collector,
Belt Collector, FTR. They had the Ring of Honor, the AAA, and the AEW tag titles. It was sick. They're my favorite tag team ever.
That was where I fell in love with them, actually, because I remember like that was kind of when I started getting into it and exploring things and all that good stuff. And
their matches with the Briscoes.
Oh my God, that was some of my favorite matches I've ever seen. They're all just so good. And I remember that's where the moment, because they were super over and they were having these great matches. They were going all over the world to defend the belts. They were even defending him in New Japan versus like Aussie Open, which is a great match over there. And it was like, these guys are some of the best in the world. And I'm glad that they got that time, and I'd like it, to maybe get back to it at some point. Maybe not in the next 6 months or something like that, but at some point I'd love to see a run where they're really pushed as a top act, given a lot of guys to just wrestle. I think that would work really well.
Yeah.
I am going to go feed the cat. You guys can keep going though.
All right. The other thing I had from Rampage was actually Lucha Bros versus Private Party, which
just talking about tags.
Yeah, speaking of tags, I really like this match. Like I said, Lucha Bros was literally the first time I ever watched AEW, and I very much enjoy watching them, and I thought this match was really, really good.
Yeah, this seemed like it was a lot of like standard wrestling and stuff, but these guys' standard is much higher than a lot of like other people. And it was like, this is what I would expect from this kind of match. And I got what I wanted. And so I'm happy. I'm satisfied. I left satisfied. And these are two teams as well that, we were just talking about who to place emphasis on, all that stuff. These are two teams that deserve it, especially I think Private Party. I know Mark Quinn is a little bit behind Isaiah, but I think as a team and as a unit, I think they're really good, and they're getting more over. Everyone likes saying shots. I mean,
yeah, I've been seeing them more and more often, and I think they're pretty over when they do come out, and they prove it every time. So, I think these two guys these two teams rather. I mean, they put on a really good solid match for Rampage, and it was satisfying.
10-minute Rampage match. I mean, it can't ask for much more.
What's your take on Rampage as a whole? Because our big rant last week was Galeer started off with, when we started talking about AEW, he named a bunch of matches and they were all fucking bangers, and he was like, these all happened on Rampage, and I was like, huh? And when I watch Rampage now, I throw it on. I'm like, I guess I gotta watch Rampage this week. That's pretty much my thought. But Dynamite and Collision, I fucking love it. I love watching Collision. Collision, like I said, is one of my favorite shows of the week. And it holds up every week, and I'm like, damn, this is fire. But Rampage, I'm just like, I don't know what happened to it. And do you have that same feeling, or do you enjoy Rampage? Because I know there is an audience for boom, we're going to have these 4 matches and that's it. Get ready.
Yeah. I think Rampage is at the beginning, and it's had a lot of moments where it's been pretty good. It was the place, Punk debuted in AEW. It was positioned to be a big show. And I think it's only really a big show whenever they care to put real matches on it, because you look at this card and it's all right, we got the Conglomeration, Undisputed Kingdom. That's a fine match. And then we have 3 squash matches to fill time, and then we have a tag match to main. It's they're all fine. It's a fine wrestling show, but I feel like it could be more. It's a fast hour. I'm not saying they get a ton of views on it or anything. It is at 10 o'clock on a Friday. It's even hard for me to watch, and I'm a big fan. It's hard for me to want to watch every week whenever it's got cards like this, and it's what's inspired me to watch this show on this card, and I can't really name anything in particular. And it's you guys have such a big roster. You guys have so many names that you could just put on to have good matches and build their own stories on Rampage. They did the whole Willow and Statlander team on Rampage. Right. That was the whole thing. And I think we need more of that, because Rampage needs to be a show. It's got to feel worth it for someone to be sitting in front of their TV at 10 p.m. on a Friday. It's got to be good enough for someone justify doing that.
Someone to build around for that show.
Yeah, just maybe an ace of Rampage. I know that, I don't know how a wrestler would feel about being
silly, but yeah. But
just
it's
another story.
It's obviously CM Punk was on the 2nd or 3rd episode of Rampage, and he made his return to wrestling. But then Collision was his show, and then when he was out of the picture, it kind of became Danielson, FTR, Ricky Starks was kind of those were the ones you built around. Yeah. It is very hard to build a 1 hour show around somebody, but I think that's what makes having more than one show as a wrestling company good. It's Raw and SmackDown, have they have their own separate champions. I'm not saying add more champions to AEW by any means. There's plenty, but have those set guys that that's who runs that show. Even if Rampage is an hour, I don't know. I just or at the very least have a star featured. Last week I went on that rant about Rampage, and I listed a bunch of matches that were star-studded, more or less. The first episode of Rampage main evented with Kenny Omega versus Christian.
Yeah.
That's a big which time. Is crazy. And just have more, even slightly more bigger ticket matches. And like you said, that opening match, the Conglomeration versus the Kingdom, was really good. I think it went 20 minutes, which is great for Rampage. wasn't anything special, but
I'd like for it to be that. I'd like for it to be the show where we do a few, long matches. We could sprinkle in a couple small ones here, but no one's gonna be hooked in by 3 minutes. No one's gonna be hooked in by a squash match, and that doesn't really do any good for any of these wrestlers because no one's watching the show. You don't give a reason to. So if you put some of these big ticket names on there, I'm not saying put Will Ospreay on Rampage or nothing like that. I know you gotta be limited with this, but I wouldn't mind a Kyle O'Reilly singles match more often or something like that. I think just against another top guy going 15, 20, or even a young guy. We can give them a chance to shine on national TV. Why not? You have like an hour.
Since they started adding more shows to their programming and the Ring of Honor deal, getting rid of AEW Dark and Elevation. I personally feel like Dark and Elevation should have stuck around because I feel like there's so many. The roster is loaded, ROH and AEW. Like there's so many smaller and younger people that don't get the time. They get the time they need, but it's not in the right place, if that makes sense. Like I feel like Dark was great. People actually watched AEW Dark on YouTube.
It was easy to watch on YouTube, just like that.
Yeah.
Exactly. They have a Dark Wave AEW Dark matches to chill and study to now. Some of my favorite matches are AEW Dark matches. But now we get a lot of that. Unfortunately, has been delegated to Ring of Honor, and sometimes Rampage. Sometimes on Collision, but I feel like mostly Ring of Honor. And you just did a video about it too, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah. And everything you said in that video rang true. Just people aren't caring too much about what's going on because it's either quick squash matches or you're not featuring the people that matter, like Mark Briscoe, who we've really mostly just seen on AEW TV, and he's in Blood and Guts for some reason.
Yeah, he's the world champion over there. We haven't seen him on the program.
He's in Blood and Guts for some reason, and he was also in the TNT Championship ladder match, which I found a problem with because it was just your world champion shouldn't really care about titles respectfully that are below them. You know what I mean? I guess they can to a degree, but it's your Ring of Honor world champion already doesn't feel super important because he's not getting featured. Putting him in a match for another title that is technically in another company, but if we're being real, AEW and Ring of Honor are the same company as it stands right now. So I think there's a lot that needs to be worked on in that respect.
Yeah, I think it rings true with Rampage and ROH. We have to give people hooks to watch. Got to give them a reason. And on either of those shows, like Rampage, some weeks I'm like, all right, this card looks sick. I'll give it a watch. But with ROH, there's the occasional match every month. It's one a month, and I'm like, okay, I'll give that a look. But other than that, it's I've got no reason to watch. It doesn't mean anything to me. I don't even stick around on the shows whenever I go see it live. I mentioned it in the video. It's I stayed for lives, and they'll film those shows after 12 o'clock, and I'm like, I'll start getting tired. My girlfriend's always there; she's getting tired. It's I don't want to stay for another
it's
watch.
ready to go.
How do you feel about the pay-per-views being as loaded as they are?
I think it's kind of just it's one of those things where I hate to be I'm a shill right now, but in the video I mentioned as well, it was we won't care about the TVs. No one will watch them. No one will even mention them on Twitter, nothing. We'll get all excited about the pay-per-view and we'll watch it, and it'll be a great show. It's going to be awesome. I have no doubt about it. But then we're just going to go back to not caring about the TV. It's we never carry any momentum. We never look. The same guys we see on that pay-per-view don't even appear on ROH after it. Mark Briscoe won the title at the last pay-per-view, has been on twice. It's what good is having such great pay-per-views do if it doesn't mean anything for TV?
I feel with the story too, it was a pretty important win for Mark Briscoe.
It's big.
It was
on the anniversary of his brother's title win 11 years prior.
There's a lot of weird things happening in AEW. It's not nothing like bad, like, oh my god, this is garbage, like, but it's
I think
just
we'll recover.
weird stuff. Yeah, they're in like a weird
I know,
spot.
like I think we'll recover. Everyone takes this and they run with it, and they're like, it's so over.
Yeah,
it's really
it's not.
Like,
it's not.
It's
like,
gotten a lot better recently
it's
as
gotten,
well.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. There's still like some things here and there that don't entirely make sense to me. Like I was saying last week, I loved the Ospreay and MJF match, but I don't know, Swerve getting like 10 minutes at the end of the show just made me sad, you know? Like I love
weird little choices.
Yeah.
It's weird little choices, and I think too about how that was Dynamite 250. They made a pretty big deal out of it. And then we have Blood and Guts coming up. And I don't know, Blood and Guts is like a show they do every year, but it just felt this Blood and Guts feels like I'm more excited for this than I was for Dynamite 250 kind of going into the week. Just because they've got like, the Blood and Guts match, they've got Jericho and Suzuki, and they had a few other matches here and there that
I think Mariah's gonna appear.
There was one more match though, but like, generally, like I was like, this is gonna be pretty like well-rounded episode, I think.
Yeah.
I was excited for 250 as well. I don't think they made the right choices with I got my opinions on the MJF Ospreay match. I'm not so much of this match was the worst wrestling match I've ever fucking seen. It's like,
not at all.
I don't think we need to go that far, guys. I get what your point is. I understand you didn't like it, but we don't gotta go that far. It wasn't that bad, but it going an hour and then finishing the way it did, which I don't think it was a great finish, and then Swerve gets just an overrun. It's like, that's a little weird too. I would have liked to see him.
He's just consistently been getting shafted, and like he had a good match with Ospreay, and that kind of like was promising because it's like, okay, we know that they care enough to put him over Ospreay, who's arguably right now, as he's being presented, bigger than Swerve.
In a way, I think that match in particular, what I thought going into it was whoever wins this match, they're picking them as the guy. Like this is the one. That's they both understand these are the two most over guys in the company, and I think Swerve has been presented like pretty well. He's had a few moments where I question it, but overall I've enjoyed this reign quite a bit.
Yeah.
But that match was like, are we gonna stick with Swerve? Are we gonna make his world championship reign something? Like, are we going to really make it something, or are we going to go with the hot hand? And I don't think it necessarily would have been the wrong choice to go the other way. I would have preferred Ospreay Swerve happen at Wembley. I thought that was the correct
same
decision.
with us.
Yeah, but they didn't go that route, and I appreciate that they picked Swerve. I think that was, looking back and looking at the match as a whole, I think that was the right choice. But I'd really just like to see just some changes in that. I would like to see him being presented as this is the biggest guy. His title means the most out of everything. Like, Danielson should have been on the show. He should have been somewhere on 250. I think he could have put over immediately, been like, Danielson, basically, he could have said, like, Swerve, I know you're the guy, but I'm taking that belt. That alone would have done a lot for him. It's those little things.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I feel like his involvement in Blood and Guts, obviously Hangman's there, and that's what they're doing there. Again, I think you and I both had a very strong opinions, I think, about that. Well, so did we. I think all three of us collectively think it should have been Hangman. Not saying Danielson was, a bad choice by any means, but Hangman made more sense. We're kind of fantasy booking like Hangman just fucking takes out Danielson because Danielson's just been getting his ass beat, and then he throws himself in the Wembley match. I've been fantasy booking Nigel McGuinness coming out of retirement to face Danielson.
I thought they were gonna. There was a moment in that match, the Hangman Danielson one, where Danielson was out. Like he sold it as though he was passed out, and right there the bell should have rang. I thought, like, if you regret that choice, which I think they should regret that choice, if you wanted to get out of it, have Hangman say, I had you out, this was a fluke, you have to do it again. Like, we have to have another match. And then change it, because, brother, I don't know why they passed up on that story. I love Bryan Danielson. I adore him. I so wish he would have won that belt at any other time. I would have liked him to win that belt.
Except right now.
Except for right now.
Hangman Swerve is the match you need to have at Wembley. They're like, I was
collar.
saying, like, I was saying like two wrestlers that are like soulmates in wrestling match. Like I think of like Edge and John Cena, for example. Like they're like my Edge and John Cena of like now. They haven't had a bad match in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think they can continue to just keep fucking killing it out there.
That's the rivalry of AEW. Like those two feuding, that will be the rivalry for AEW.
It's what people want to see.
Years. Yeah. And for good reason. They are, like you said, they have such great chemistry. They always deliver. Put them in the biggest stage in front of at least 40,000. I thought that would have been just the perfect way.
Hangman can drink his blood again.
Would have been beast. He could spit it in the air, have that cool ass photo recreated. Why not?
Yeah.
That being said, who's going over at Wembley? Who do you think? Do you think it's Danielson?
I don't think they do the match without it being Danielson. I think TK finally put his foot down. He's like, "Look, brother, you're gonna retire this year. I love you too much. You got to win that belt." And
because Danielson was kind of like Danielson's just like, I don't need to win a world championship before I'm out.
Yeah, he should have been selfish another time, so we didn't have this conundrum. But yeah, I think it's definitely they don't make that match if it's not Danielson walking out of Wembley. And in a way, I like it a lot too because Danielson winning gold, going out on top. I think that's not a bad story. Just you look at the other one and you're like, well, I would have liked that a little bit more.
It'll be a good moment, but not a good story.
It's not perfect. It could have been perfect.
Yeah. Let's hop over to the biggest tragedy in wrestling history. They changed the Collision theme song, and I'm so sad about it.
Oh, brother.
I'm so sad.
Mikey Ruckus was like, "Hey, check out this song I made, bro.
Dude,
you don't have to keep paying Elton John."
I'm so sad about it, man.
Mikey, I'm so sorry. You've made some themes I like, but this
is pretty ass.
Sucks.
It's
Dude,
fucking terrible.
It used to get me so hyped up. I was like, Saturday. But now we got.
Do you think it was?
Get ready to go or whatever the fuck it says. That was stupid.
Do you think it was like there was any particular reason behind it?
Probably licensing.
Licensing.
No. It was like they reported on it. It was basically just production cost. It was like they wanted to lower it, and they were like, "All right, well, let's just do it."
TK, empty your
pockets.
pockets.
Your thing you tweeted today too about like pyro and shit. So it was just
please put some more fireworks in the building, man. Please. Yeah. I love a good firework.
Well, this was also the first show in the esports
arena.
I
was going to say we did get a travesty of the theme song changing, but we got a beautiful venue. I think this is so sick. The little tunnel is dope. Just the vibe, the crowd size, it's perfect.
It feels very indie, and I like it.
Yeah, I got that same kind of vibe. A lot of people are comparing it to like old school TNA, like how they used to run those buildings, and I was just like, brother, this is Collision. This is what this great show is all about.
So Collision is there for the next 6 weeks. Dynamite will still be moving around, but this is the home for Collision for the next month. And I want it to be the home forever. I'm going to be honest. I think this venue is perfect for Collision. Perfect.
I think too. It would allow for a consistent crowd. You know? I don't know how they're doing with crowds now, but like, I think about like NXT, how they kind of just run it out of the same place every fucking week and they keep a consistent crowd. So I think this will be good. And it's kind of like a nice little trial run for like future, I don't know, a future deal with them perhaps that might even last longer, or perhaps maybe a fourth show. Who knows? Stranger things have happened.
I wouldn't go that far. I hope you don't put that out in the universe too often because that's very scary.
I sure don't. That was the first time I said
good.
That. But
please don't.
I won't totally write it off because it's Tony Khan and it's AEW and we
never know.
Yeah.
It seems more like a trial run for ROH because they're also doing shows here.
Yeah.
It seems like one of those.
Before Dishonor.
Death Before Dishonor is going to be here. All their weekly TV is going to be here. I think that would be better served at a place like this. I think it makes more sense for ROH. I suggested it. Just getting a home base, getting consistent crowds that know ROH, that care to be there, that pay to be there specifically for ROH. I think that would add a lot. And it's not. I can't think it's going to cost them too much. For renting out a little bit. I don't think it's crazy costs. But it was a gorgeous looking arena.
Very, very beautiful venue. And a great show.
Yeah, we had
together, I'd say.
Oh, nice.
We'll kind of quickly go through and wrap it up soon here, but we had Darby's in-ring return, which was really good to see. Absolutely fire, a beautiful coffin drop as usual. And then he gave a nice little promo after. He's like, a lot of people said I wouldn't be able to walk by 30. Brother, I feel better than I ever have. Like all this shit. And
I'm so glad he didn't climb Mount Everest.
Yeah, right. He's probably still going to at some point. Let's be honest. And he challenged Jack Perry for the TNT title at All In. So that's going to be a good one. That's going to be a good match. And that's one that makes sense. It's like, okay, you know, he fucking hates Jack Perry and all this shit, and that's going to be a good match.
Two of the pillars.
Yeah.
Right?
Two of the pillars.
Pillars that we just randomly established at one point by saying these are the pillars.
Yeah, right.
Not saying they're not.
But yeah, you know, Darby, really good to see back.
Also, shout out the Beast Mortos, aka or formerly known as Black Taurus. Someone who I actually, because I was talking earlier about how I watched a lot of TNA back in the pandemic era, and Black Taurus was frequently featured then, and he's fucking insane.
He's really good. He was like a perfect guy. They have a lot of PWG matches, Darby and Black Taurus, but this match that they had together was kind of just, it was so inspired. It was Darby Allin, as he always is, being a great underdog, being a great fighting from underneath guy, being the best at it. And that promo afterwards, I tweeted out after, I was like, I'm a little like, when did Darby become the best of the four pillars at doing some promos?
Yeah, I was gonna say
so much fire and so much like I can just tell he means it. I can just tell he means what he's saying.
I feel like he means what he says, but in a like I don't give a fuck kind of way. Like he's very like, just like like I'm just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I feel great. Like fuck you guys. Like just very.
Not at all. I don't know what you're talking about.
My fucking, he was like, I spilt my guts. If you saw that Sting match, I spilt my guts everywhere. So blood and guts is gonna be like a cakewalk for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Darby's so back.
That match at the with Sting, you know, his retirement match. It's up here on the wall.
I saw that.
I was there. I saw him go through that glass pane. That was it. I screamed, jumped up and down.
Right in your home.
Yeah,
area.
You should have heard the yells that I made when they were like, "Revolution's gonna be in Charlotte," and I was like, or Greensboro, and I was like, yes, let's fucking go.
And then you saw him go through the fucking glass, and
and Sting's last match.
Oh, yeah. How can you miss that? Did you have good seats?
I did have good seats. I was really hoping to get ringside, but they had like this ticket issue where they didn't show the map at first, and I was like scared I was gonna get some shitty ringside seat. But if that didn't happen, I would have been ringside. But I still got some quality seats. I was like directly in the middle. It's pretty awesome.
Can we see you on the pay-per-view if we go look at it?
I don't think. I think I was a little too high up. I just missed like when they would pan out. But I was actively trying to get on hard cam.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, that'd be fun, wouldn't it? That'd be kind of cool.
Fun. Yeah.
Like, that's me.
I got on hard cam for a Monday Night Raw show, and I'll show my friends, like, and they're just like, okay. They're like, yeah, cool.
It's like only cool to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, wow, there I am.
I'm famous. We had an unfortunate injury that was kind of weird. I didn't realize it at first. Hikaru Shida dove from the ring onto Sky Blue, and Sky Blue's ankle like folded weird, I guess. It was a weird catch. And
you couldn't really see it.
It looked like
you just kind of saw she just landed on Sky Blue's like
you couldn't see it at all. And you know, she gets down, the ref immediately comes over. He must have seen her ankle fucking fold or something. He comes over, and then they cut to commercial, and Hikaru Shida's standing at the top of the ramp, and they're like, all right, your winner's Hikaru Shida. And that was just unfortunate. I was like, oh shit.
Very unfortunate too, considering they've been like trying so hard to like repackage Sky Blue.
Yeah,
like
she just came back a few months
different
ago.
Times. Yeah, and they've tried like a few different like new things with her, and they've been trying to promo her. And like sadly, it like I feel like it hasn't really been hitting.
Right.
But this is just kind of like salt in the wound,
yeah, it's
unfortunately. Because I know there's like a ton of potential in Sky Blue. It's just unfortunate that we didn't get the chance to like. We will at some point, but unfortunate roadblock for her. In what was gonna be a promising run for her, it seems.
Right.
I was excited for the match too. I'm a big Sheeta guy, so I was hopeful to see what she would deliver. Like if she's improved at all or anything like that, and then it happens, and you're just like, damn, I hope she's okay.
Like, fuck.
Yeah.
Hikaru Shida is going to be on. I forget what she said after that. Is she going to be on Dynamite? Is she Blood and Guts?
Against Britt.
Okay, right. Okay, so that should be great. Good. Yeah.
Two old flames. I'm curious if that was like in the cards. Like, do you think Shida was supposed to go over in that match? Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you think they were gonna that her versus DMD was gonna be the plan?
Yeah, it was definitely going to be the thing.
I wasn't sure if that like happened as a result, and they kind of just like as a result of everything that happened earlier in the night, and they were like, let's do this. I don't know. But,
I'm thinking that promo probably was like, oh, we got to fill this time, but I think overall, like, yeah, it probably was gonna still be Shida and Britt Baker.
Yeah.
So
yeah, she is very reliable, and she's had a few like decent matches with Britt. So it's like, all right, how are we gonna get Britt tuned up for this Mercedes match? Let's give her Shida. It's an old opponent. She knows her well, so I think it was always the plan.
Shida, her promo is great. Her English has never been better, in my opinion. Just based on past promos, it was a really good promo, and like, feels kind of heelish a little bit, but not like entirely. She's kind of like a little edgy right now. I like that side of Shida because she's great when it comes to leaning into more edgy side of herself.
Yeah, in a way, I thought the injury made the promo even better because it was like, I'm still waiting for a fight. I still want someone.
And it was like her. It was kind of her fault too, in a way.
Yeah, she's like, I'm still looking to kick ass. Like, so give me someone new. Like, would that just happen? But give me someone. I'm ready.
Yep.
We also had the debut of Hologram.
Yes.
His entrance in this arena. Woo!
Kind of beast.
That shit cooked.
I didn't realize he worked over in Mexico. Yeah, in CMLL or with AAA.
It's under a different name, different mask.
Yeah. So I straight up thought, just kind of the way they were building this is just like a brand new guy, which you never see them, promote like debuts like this. Debuts have always come in the form of like a surprise, So to see like the video packages they were doing for Hologram and stuff like that, it was very different for AEW, and I loved it, and they got me excited. It felt dirty to do Gringo Loco like that, in my opinion, because I love Gringo Loco. But it was a good match, and that crowd was loving every second of it, dude.
Dude, the spot that got me where I was like, holy shit, was when right at the beginning, he fucking jumped on Gringo's shoulders. Like from the ground, he just jumped up. And I was like, how the fuck do you do that? That's insane. And he stood there for like a good couple seconds and then flipped off. I was like, whoa.
Even people were just like, wow. Like people were kind of in awe. I don't think anyone really like entirely knew what to expect, but I Google searched Hologram AEW because I was trying to get this guy's name, and then I eventually found that he was Aramis in over in Mexico. So
there was another great spot where Gringo was in the corner like trying to hit him, and hologram kept like dodging through the ropes. Like he like swung himself through the middle rope onto the other side of the apron, and then like jumped over, and then just kept going back and forth. I was like, this is great. Yeah, it was good stuff to see. So, I'm excited to see what we get from Hologram from here on out, how they're going to involve him. I hope it's not just here's hologram. Like, hopefully he's somewhat involved and more than just we need a hologram match on Rampage.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, hopefully we get something good. And then we had a lumberjack match, which I actually enjoyed. We've been getting a lot from Deonna Purrazzo and Thunder Rosa. That's their feud right now. I think lumberjack matches can be a little silly, and this definitely had some silly moments, but I thought overall it was a decent match. Thunder Rosa actually being involved in a feud again and kind of moving her way back up there is nice.
This was probably the best match the two of them have had in this feud so far.
Yeah.
And just because I haven't really been entirely sold on it since it started, but this was a really good match, even especially given that it was a lumberjack match. So, but I don't think it's over yet either because of the way that it was won. We had Taya Valkyrie helping Deonna get the win by handing her just a fucking. She had, I don't know if she took it off, but she just had a turnbuckle.
Yeah. I think she grabbed it from under the ring, maybe.
I guess, yeah, and just that makes the most sense. And knocked out Thunder Rosa. Deonna Purrazzo gets the 1, 2, 3. I don't think this is over. I think they're gonna have one more like higher stakes match. Give me another Thunder Rosa lights out match. I think Deonna Purrazzo can hang with her in that.
Yeah,
good rule. I think a lot of their matches for me personally, I've kind of just felt like I can visually see these are good matches. They're working well. They're doing their thing in there, but I feel slightly bored. I don't think they ever kind of take it a step further because I think they have it in them to go further. I've seen Thunder Rosa before injury. I think afterwards she's been like maybe a step back from that, but not too crazy, not a crazy amount. Yeah. And I know Deonna can be good. So I think let's give them one more. Let's give them a step. Let's give them something to work with and see what they can do. Because I think they still have better in them. Even though the matches have been good, they've been like serviceable matches. I haven't felt they're bad by any means.
No.
But I think they still got a little bit better in them. I agree. Give them a lights out. I think it would work.
Yeah.
She's done it before. Her and Britt Baker tore the house down. I say Incredible. It's time to put Thunder Rosa back on the map.
Yeah.
Put her back up to where she belongs and because she got done dirty.
It was unfortunate going out with the injury and stuff like that. It was a very emotional moment whenever she had to like relinquish that belt. She's come back and like I said, she's looked maybe a step behind where she was before. Back injuries are always difficult to come back from. That's one of the hardest ones to come back from these days. But I would not mind seeing her pushed up the card. I would not mind seeing her go after someone like Mercedes. I think they would have a great match. I think if you want to do that after All In, have her be Mercedes' next opponent, I wouldn't complain at all.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be great to see. Finally, main event of the night, AEW World Trios Championship. Kind of a strange build with the relinquishing of the title, but great match. And a great ending. Are we just... I thought... am I choosing it?
Guns up.
Oh, okay. Guns up. Yeah, Bang Bang Gang and Patriarchy. And the Patriarchy got the dub, and Christian Cage fucking held up all 3 belts. He held up all 3 of them. And I was like, yes!
They're his.
Yeah, they're his.
He better come out wearing all of them.
I will lose my mind. I will laugh so hard. It's gonna be so good. What'd you guys think of the match?
It was really good. It seemed like the crowd was really behind the Bang Bang Gang as like baby faces.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like going into this, it felt like very heel versus heel. But they were a lot. I don't know. They felt pretty behind Bang Bang Gang, and Juice Robinson's just so fucking insane. Just like as a character, obviously as a wrestler too. But the Guns, I love Colton Gunn. I originally Austin Gunn was my favorite of the two. I've now pivoted to Colton Gunn, and I think just because the more I watch him wrestle, the more I realize, holy shit, he's like a fucking he definitely looks more like Billy Gunn, but I think Austin Gunn wrestles more like Billy Gunn, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, this was a really solid match on both sides. We knew what the outcome was going to be. We were kind of like, just fucking give them the titles like they were going to last week. But I'm glad this match happened. So that we could have that like true moment of the patriarchy, like winning that those championships. Novi, what'd you think?
I'm glad we got this match as well because this was heated. This is what Collision is all about. A trios match in the main event with a hot crowd that is just there for everything they're doing. They were excited to see whatever they were showing them. Yep. I'm a huge Guns supporter. Even when they were like, they were maybe not the best, I was still like, these guys have something in them that will make them great. And I think in the Bang Bang Gang, they've taken step after step after step. And I think they're an actively very good team at this point. And getting paired with Juice Robinson fits so well with what they are as characters. Mm-hmm. Like, he completes them as an act. And I think they've just taken such a great step. And the patriarchy is I don't love them as much as I love the other team, but that doesn't mean that they're not good too. Christian Cage is insanely good. He's still so good for 50 years old.
Yeah.
Him being able to do what he can do is crazy. I think Nick Wayne shows a lot of promise, even still so young. I think he's learned so much under Christian. And it's funny. Killswitch, the former Luchasaurus, is one of 3 wrestlers to win a singles, tag, and trios belt.
Oh, really?
One of 3, yeah. I think it's like Kenny, and there's another one. I forget the other one, but
Phoenix.
I think maybe yes. It was Phoenix. Yeah, he's a real worker, is what I'll say about him. Yeah. He's worked like 8 matches in the last like year. It's kind of awesome. But this match is really, really good. This felt like Collision to me. It was like, this is exactly what I want out of this show. A hot trios match. Sign me up. Yeah, and then the winner, I like too.
Yeah.
I think too, going back to real quick to the Guns, is like the Guns are, I feel like you don't see it a ton, but the Guns are a great example of like homegrown talent from AEW.
Yep.
Because when I think of homegrown in AEW, I think of like Julia Hart. I think of like Top Flight in a sense. They kind of were put on the map by AEW.
The Acclaimed.
Yeah, they weren't before. They weren't a team together, right? They were stuck together.
Yep.
So this is like a great example of like when people say that AEW can't build stars and they just kind of pull in, names from other companies.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing that you look at and look at where the Guns were, I'd say even a year ago, let alone, 2-3 years ago. It's like night and day. They are up there, and even though they didn't win this match, they're still gonna continue to be featured.
Yeah, and they should be. They've earned it. I feel like with them, I would have said like a year ago when they won those belts, like the tag championships, that was not the right time for them, and it kind of turned a lot of people sour because they just weren't ready. And that's okay. They were young. They're still young. They're still growing. And I think them, being so soon, everyone was kind of down on them for a long time, and it's taken a while for people to kind of rebound from their feelings on that. But I think now, as a part of the Bang Bang Gang, they've kind of they've shown everybody it's like, hey, this is a good quality act. They have it. They have what makes them unique. They have, they're a great team.
Great episode of Collision. I'm really excited for more from that arena, that venue. It's going to be such a good vibe for the next 6 weeks, and we are building to All In, where I feel like the build has officially gained some steam. And all it's gonna be good. Yeah. Novi, thank you for joining us. I think this was a very fun episode. Where can they find you? And plug all your shit. Let's go.
What you're doing. Look at that camera. Tell the people what you're doing.
Yeah.
All right, on Sean Evans, we're on Hot Ones here. I'm on YouTube at Noviak. You can just find me there. I make all kinds of wrestling videos. I talk about New Japan. I talk about AEW quite a bit. I've talked about NXT before. So you can subscribe over there. I also make a lot of tweets on the Twitter. at It's Noviak on there. I'm really trying to get people to follow me because I really like Twitter engagement, and I kind of realized like after a while I was like, I'm not actively being myself. And then I started being myself, and I think I started making better tweets. So now's the time. Now's the time. You gotta drop the follow. But yeah, those are the two
We're gonna
main
compare
places.
your tweets, and then we're gonna. This was Novi before. Now,
if you guys know who who Joel Hobart is of Wrestle Purists, if you guys know who that guy is, it was basically his Twitter on mine, and I was like, I'm not being me at all.
It felt fake.
It was so fake. It was just me like trying to be like, this is how I'm gonna get Twitter likes. I'm gonna say what everyone else is saying, and then I just kind of like spouted my own thoughts. I was talking about Doritos rankings the other day. So,
yeah, we got pretty heated in that. Galeer, did you ever see what I replied?
No, did you reply to the fucking Baja Mango bullshit?
Oh, Baja
Mango's good, by the way. That's a good chip.
I don't know. King.
I bought
solid chip.
So I agree with your Doritos ranking, but the problem with Baja Mango is I bought a bag and I tried it, and then I liked it the first time, and then I went back to it and I was like, it's kind of ass. I don't know. It was worth a try, but not anymore.
Yeah.
But Mr. Galeer, I agree with Novi's Dorito ranking. I think it's pretty fire.
Because it's real and
sweet chili.
Spicy sweet chili is the best one.
Of course.
It is the best Dorito.
By far. It's not close.
Nacho cheese.
Nacho cheese on top is crazy. It's just so plain.
Barbecue.
I had number 2.
Chili, and then Cool Ranch all the way at the bottom.
Can we agree on that? That Cool Ranch Doritos are
very
Cool
Ranch
overrated.
is bottom, yeah.
They're good. I'm not saying they're not good. It's just like
they're fine, but people speak
when I go with friends and we're like trying to get snacks and stuff, they're like Cool Ranch Doritos. I'm like, that's your fucking choice. That's
like what the fuck?
Weird.
I pulled to a party and I'm like, they chose Cool Ranch as the Dorito flavor. I'm like, look, I get it's popular. There's a large group of people that like them, but they're wrong. I'm sorry to tell you, they're not.
Or choose 2 flavors at the very least. Don't just take one Dorito flavor to the party and assume everyone's gonna want Cool Ranch.
Yeah, because the problem is you put out Cool Ranch and then you have a whole party with people whose breath smells like shit. So, if you want that in your household, then go ahead. But if you want to have people that enjoy their time, you should have the sweet chili ones.
That's true. And with that, follow Novi for more Doritos rankings and rants. Thank you guys for joining us. Me and Mr. Galeer are going to talk about TNA Slammiversary tomorrow. And we have more wrestling coming up this week. It's always a packed week of wrestling. So be sure to keep on subbing, commenting, all that jazz. Give us money if you want. Link in the description. If not, that's fine too. But yeah, I think this was a wonderful episode, Novi. Thank you for joining us. And I think that's about it there.
Can we crash the car for this one? I know we have a theme song, but can you crash the car?
You want to crash it? Can I crash it and then do the theme? Or you just want to crash?
Yeah, that's fine. And then put in like meme font, like and subscribe. Impact
Comic
Sans.
Comic Sans or Impact?
Comic Sans.
Okay.
And then
you should do the one overlay where it just goes like ba-ding, but like layer it so it's like
I did that. I did that a few episodes ago. Like and subscribe. Comic Sans. Novi's profile picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. And go.